In the previous episode, the valley had been visited by two people living rough in the countryside. One of them, a man called Veli, Batty had initially tried to talk into joining him. When that failed, they fought. Batty dragged the beaten Veli into a small temporary holding cell and had set about persuading him to join in an altogether less morally acceptable manner. While this was going on, a raider appeared and caused considerable damage before wandering off to meet a grisly fate at the hands of a mega spider. Food was now the top priority. Batty had not replanted rice, so there was nothing growing. There were some wild berries to be had, but they would not sustain two people for long. There were no small animals close by, only herds of huge muffalo, and Batty couldn't hope to bring down one of these giants. Batty thought about possibly bringing the wild woman, Blue, in. He made a very basic room at the southern end of the cave, just in case he went ahead with this plan. He finished dividing off the store area from the living quarters. Of course, he continued talking to Veli, but reducing his natural resistance was going to be a long job. An unwelcome random event occurred, a psychic drone emitting some kind of mood-altering waves affecting all males. Batty and Veli were about to suffer some depression. Batty got on with odd jobs. He needed to mine the iron meteorite, but he won't go there willingly. Then, suddenly, a cold snap. It's still supposed to be summer. So now they have a low mood drone running and they're getting chilled. They are not going to be happy. Batty needs more wood to run the campfire and for torches. Veli tips over into paranoia and starts rambling semi-coherently. Batty tries to line up more tribal wear. Veli is naked still and outside temperatures are below freezing. Since Veli's cell has no heating, it is also below zero. We light a torch, but it won't be enough. The wild woman, Blue, has hypothermia and frostbite in her toes. She's entering the infested cave. There appears to be nothing alive in the cave. Maybe we could sneak in there and collect the insect jelly. Think honey. Then I spot the mega spider. It's well outside the cave. Did it get hungry and went hunting? At least it's nowhere near us. A total surprise. A wanderer joins Batty uninvited. A woman called Kitty Katina, a blacksmith. Not capable of violence, but good with animals, crafting, and a fair medic. She's a masochist, so she may fit in very well. She's fascinated by drugs, so we'll have to keep a close eye on her. Since she may be able to tame Blue because she's good with animals, we ask Katina to think about it. She'll have to bed down in the same room as Batty. He starts building her a bed. At least the psychic drone has now ended. Batty heads up to the insect cave to collect the jelly. We notice that Blue has collapsed in the cave, so we set Katina to rescue her. Where's the mega spider? Oh, uncomfortably close and in perfect health. First, Batty nips in and retrieves the jelly, swiftly followed by Katina, who carries Blue away without being spotted. That could have got very nasty. Food provision is a disaster area. Batty needs to harvest berries, but he prefers to sleep first. Katina gets Blue home and lays her in the small, bare, southern cave room. She has no bed, it's -10 Celsius outside at night, and little warmer indoors. Blue has extreme hypothermia and extensive frostbite. She has already lost her right thumb to frostbite, and conceivably she will not survive for long. Katina tends to Blue's injuries. This needs emergency action. Katina can't make the extra beds needed because we have no wood supplies. Batty is woken and told to chop wood immediately, not in the morning. With some effort, we get one bed constructed, but nothing for Blue yet. Batty and Katina sleep in beds. Veli also has serious hypothermia, plus malnutrition, plus his asthma is bad. We could easily lose both wild people overnight. In the morning, they must concentrate on collecting food, top priority. Also, we need power, and we can't wait until we have enough materials for the wind turbine. We plan to rebuild the little wood generator, but we'll definitely need to mine more steel. Cargo pods crash nearby. A large amount of mega sloth wool. This may be a godsend. We might be able to make clothing for all of us. Decided to give Katina a colony name. Her actual name is Kitty Katina. I decide she will be Kira after our own kitty. Just at daybreak, a medical emergency. It's Veli. He's collapsed from extreme hypothermia. Batty puts him back in his bed, feeds him and tends to his frostbite. Kira is a good tailor and starts working on some tribal wear. She should make more after that, enough for all four of us. Though only Batty and Kira are colonists, Veli is a prisoner and Blue is a patient. Batty tends to an infection that Blue has developed and we hadn't noticed. But Batty must dedicate more time to collecting food. The cave is too cold. We plan a second campfire in the sleeping room. Checking Blue's infection and it's not looking good. It's in a badly frostbitten toe and the infection appears to be growing faster than the immunity that her treatment should be bringing. Should we amputate? There don't seem to be any small huntable animals nearby. Batty harvests berries. Kira collects them and takes them home. Suddenly, Blue wakes and wants to join the bat colony, fancying her chances with us rather than living wild in freezing temperatures. But she's still gravely ill and feels terrible too. I decide that she needs a proper bed and it needs to be in a warm room. These are desperate times. And we must forget all about this is a cool room for storage talk. She needs a bed beside the campfire. I also decide to leave all internal doors open to equalise temperatures within the cave. Veli is still going to die of hypothermia. He needs warming up and fast. But he's still a prisoner. We can't move him. We have to build a campfire in his cell. As always, we haven't got enough wood. Batty must go out and chop down lots of trees fast. While Batty and Kira rush to get the wood in and the campfires built, Blue is up and about. She grabs some berries and also slips on some new tribal wear that Kira has made. Veli has his campfire at last. There is a bed for Blue, but she's already asleep on the floor in a cold room. We wake her and she can go to the bed for her main sleep. She is still suffering from the infection and the immunity still isn't catching the disease. Batty must go out and harvest heel root to make simple herbal medicines. We designate Blue's new bed as a medical bed and order her to rest until she's healed. Batty tends to her with some of the new herbal medicine. He does a really good job. At last that medical training is coming in useful. A tremendous relief. The cold snap ends. We are only on the second day of fall. Temperatures should still be relatively mild. Veli is no longer suffering from hypothermia. He just has to recover from frostbite injuries and we need to feed him. Blue's infection is looking more hopeful. The immunity has caught up to the disease. She might still live through this. There are a few huntable animals nearby. Batty tries his luck with a turkey. His bow skills are still abysmal, but he finally manages to bring it down. Meat for dinner. Kira starts cooking meals. Suddenly a medical emergency. What? It's Blue. But it's not disastrous, it's just a warning that her infection has reached 78%. The good news is her immunity is nearly at 100%. She should begin to recover at any time. A sudden dry electrical storm hits with lightning strikes setting fires randomly around the neighbourhood. We decide that Blue needs a colony name. After some consideration, we call her Viv. She has some skill and a lot of passion for plants, mining and art. On the other hand, she's prone to lighting fires when the mood takes her. She's a fast walker, so should get a lot of work done on the farm. She also has a jealous streak. She wants to have the best bedroom. Both Veli and Viv are now fully healed from the frostbite. Batty, Viv and Kira rush to put out wildfires whenever they threaten farms and buildings. Viv begins sowing some rice in the field. It's late in the year, but rice grows fast. We may get some harvests in before winter. An eclipse, but not as worrying as when you rely on solar power. This just makes it a bit dark. Batty is still trying to convince Veli to join, but if you're trying to treat him well, don't keep giving him raw food. Veli has been through a lot. A surprise! Some pigs join! Huey, Dewey and Louie head down towards the cave. We won't allow them to live indoors. How long before we can't feed them and have to eat them, I wonder. Viv starts mining some of the wall of Veli's cell. She's actually expanding his living space. However, she's standing on his bed and he decides to sleep on the floor, so he's ended up less comfortable despite her efforts. We need to remember to up the quantities of meals we're cooking now that we have 4 mouths to feed. Batty builds the new wood-fired generator. It runs and starts to lower the temperature in the cool room. Soon we will be able to transfer food storage to here to avoid wastage. Viv seems happy to do the mining that Batty hates. She gathers steel from nearby. Batty tries his hand at hunting some larger prey. There are a few deer close by. We remember just in time that Viv can fight, unlike Kira, the pacifist. She picks up a club that has been sitting in the cave since Batty used it on Veli. Batty hasn't managed to hit a single deer. He gets distracted and builds the wind turbine. We didn't even need it yet, but Batty loves one thing more than all else, and that's construction. Right now the turbine is blocked by about 10 trees. They all need to come down, but that's not urgent. We prepare to build a proper bed for Veli. The more comfortable he is, the more he's likely to join us. But first, sleep. It's been an eventful few days. We are now a colony of 3 plus a prisoner, and we own 3 pigs. Next time we must work out where food for all of us is going to come from. Building must take off in earnest, and we must begin to prepare for winter. We've had a taste, we don't want to suffer in the cold like that again.